News in 5.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
Good day, this is World News in 5. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Jordan's King Abdullah II and Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi in hopes that the war between Israel and Hamas does not spread in the region. Jordan is Blinken's latest stop in his tour of Middle Eastern countries, which including other Arab countries, have demanded on an immediate ceasefire, but Israel refused to heed their calls. Before visiting Jordan, Blinken met with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who is prepared to use its connection to avert a possible spread of war to other countries. In a separate meeting, Blinken also met with Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, whom had also called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and for the uninterrupted flow of humanitarian aid. The U.S. Secretary of State is on a diplomacy tour in the Middle East, hoping to calm the situation in Gaza and pacify regional tensions.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
Meanwhile, the United Nations said that a fire consumed more than 1,000 shelters in Bangladesh's southern coastal district of Cox's Bazar, leaving thousands of Rohingya refugees homeless. According to Shafiqul Islam, head of the Ukiah fire station, the fire broke out around midnight at Kutupalong camp, which spread quickly as strong winds were also experienced in the area. The fire chief said no casualties were reported, however, about 1,040 shelters were destroyed. He said it took about 2 hours to get the fire under control, wherein 10 fire units from Ukiah engaged the fires, as well as other stations in the district. Local news said that thousands of refugees, including women and children, fled to an open field as the fire spread rapidly during the early hours of Sunday. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, or UNHCR, said an assessment of the extent of the damage is being made. More than 1 million Rohingya refugees have fled to Bangladesh from Myanmar over several decades, including about 740,000 who crossed the border starting in late August 2017, when the Myanmar military launched a brutal crackdown.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
And news from Philippine Foreign Service posts. 4 Philippine dignitaries has been appointed as member of the Court of the Permanent Court of Arbitration, or PCA, by the International Bureau of the PCA, who were all recommended by Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA Secretary Enrique Manalo. Dr. Raul Pangalangan, Professor Sidfrey Candelaria, Dr. Antonio Gabriel Lavinia, and Philippine Ambassador Eduardo Malaya were all named to be arbitrators under the auspices of the PCA for a term of 6 years. Dr. Pangalangan is a professor of law at the University of the Philippines and is also a former judge of the International Criminal Court from 2015 to 2021. Professor Candelaria, on the other hand, is a professor of law at the Ateneo de Manila University and is chief of office of the Research, Publications and Linkages Office of the Philippine Judicial Academy. Meanwhile, Dr. Lavinia is a former member of the PCA Specialized Panel of Arbitrators and Experts from 2016 to 2022 and is currently Associate Director for Climate Policy and International Relations of the Manila Observatory, while Mr. Malaya is Philippine Ambassador to the Netherlands and the Acting President of the PCA Administrative Council from 2023 to 2024. Previous Philippine members of the PCA were retired Chief Justice Artemio Panganiban, retired Chief Justice Reynato Puno, retired Justice Jose Vitug, and Dr. Pangalangan. The PCA is the first and foremost permanent intergovernmental organization providing a forum for the resolution of international disputes through arbitration and other peaceful means.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
And that concludes today's edition of World News in 5 for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This is Jerome Toledo. Good day.
World News in 5.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.